What do you define as rewilding?
I don't think there should be one definition for rewilding, although there is, like by the UN or whatever, there is like an official terminology of rewilding. But I think the world, as we all know, is so large and the habitat's so different. I think rewilding can be done in so many different ways. Um, and in some areas, I think it could really can be that complete hands off. Basically, our definition at Wild Finca is rewilding is interpreted as the process of restoring and protecting natural processes and core wilderness areas, providing connectivity between such areas and safeguarding wildlife. It's about allowing nature to take care of itself as much as possible, while also recognizing humans as part of the ecosystem. This involves repairing damaged ecosystems and restoring degraded landscapes. Through rewilding, the natural rhythms of wildlife create wilder, more diverse habitats. Our aim with rewilding is not only the restoration of ecosystems to their natural functioning with a full suite of appropriate species, but also the integration of sustainable organic food production and provision of livelihoods where land is suitable. This holistic approach ensures a balance between nature conservation and human needs. I think like here, that is my. It's changed a bit since we first moved here, but definitely in the last year, I'm really driven to um, spark something in the people.
Tell us about the vision for Wild Finca.
For me, it's getting people involved in nature because I generally believe, and obviously I am a bit biased, but I generally believe living here and seeing the potential is that it could be a nature-based economy and they could be providing food for people in an ecological, nature-friendly way. There's like 400,000 cows in Asturias or something, and unfortunately, I have five of them, but we use them for different purposes in terms of being the proxy auroch species here. Um, but like most, not most, that's unfair. But those cows, one, okay, I do eat meat on a very small level, but like we all could stop eating meat or eat a lot less meat. So they're not actually, if all those cows stopped, I'm not saying all stop, no one would starve to death. Um, but in terms of the other land uses like eucalyptus plantation stuff, they're all so short sighted, the damage they're doing. And in my eyes, there's no real future for those industries and for who they employ. Whereas if my vision came true in terms of Wild Finca growing or getting other people on board with Wild Finca, like I'd love to employ within the next 3 years 2 Spanish ecologists. You know, I'm English, I speak enough Spanish to get by, but I'm still not confident enough to guide adults. I can guide my the class. That's probably my level of Spanish 5-year-olds and show them stuff. But I couldn't like delve in. I couldn't do what I'm doing now with you in Spanish. I don't think. But also, I don't think I'll ever gain the respect fully here because I am always going to see as a foreigner that's come in, and I don't want to be that foreigner saying, "Oh, this is what you should be doing." I don't agree with lots of things people are doing, but they don't agree with what I'm doing, and I think it's good. Like like they'll do that, I'll do this, and we'll get on. But I think we could all look at nature as a way of helping.
What is the answer to overturn negative views on conservation?
It's not the answer just to fight nature, and I guess. Yeah, I don't want to be doom and gloom, but I basically wanted a bit of a Twitter rant yesterday about it. It's like, why are people not stopping and looking inwards at like how can we solve this without blaming wildlife and nature? But it's because of this detachment. It's seen nature is seen as this separate thing that's like over there, and like because we don't maybe not know about it, it's like fear of the unknown. Well, it's nature's fault. I spoke to a guy up in the mountains, right, and he said, "Oh, they call bichos, like beasts." He said, "Are you looking for beasts?" Like that was his thing, and that was like his all encompassing from a salamander to a bear. That was his like term. And I was like, "Yeah." And then he basically just unprompted, like, "Oh yeah, well, as long as they're not causing problems, they're fine." But it was that like causing problems. It's like, but we're nature, we're part of it.
What could be done to improve conservation efforts?
In Europe, I think 38% of land is farmed, right? So if you could get farmers on board in terms of nature, and it doesn't have to be like hardcore rewilding. I think this is a thing, it's like resetting people's brain, is that rewilding isn't letting go. It isn't turning up with a lorry and releasing 400 wolves. You know, it can help everyone and it could actually help your farm. Um, in terms of that side of things. So that's the adult side of things. But at the minute, we're not in a position to do that. And I don't think I am the right person here. My motivation more is for going with the kids is that I can change their minds or get them hooked on it. And if the 28 kids that come in April, even if like ignoring my son, so that takes them down to 27, even if 5 of them go and like have a spark that weekend they want to go out looking for nature with their mum and dad, and then mum and dad hopefully are like, oh, well, if that's what the kids want to do, that's what we'll go and do. Then that's a success. And then just slowly, we live in this like paradise. I mean, they literally call it paraíso natural, Asturias paraíso natural. I kind of disagree because to me it is a paradise, but there's a lot wrong with it. There's a lot of wrong with lots of landscapes here in the world. I think that you just got to take the good bits as well. Um, I've got the University of Oviedo coming as well for the second time, and I think last time they brought 40 students, and they're zoology students, so they already have that like they're in it, right? Yeah, if you're a zoology student, you kind of got to be into nature, I'd hope. But that was brilliant. Like last time, like I looked behind me and I had this like snake of youth following behind me, all like taking pictures of the butterflies and the reptiles and stuff we were finding. So all those little things are what keep me going, and I definitely know that can be scaled up tenfold, probably. If I could get 200 kids through the door here a year locally, that would be amazing.
Why did you choose to do small scale rewilding?
Our main motivation for doing small scale rewilding was simply uh, feasibility and achievability, I guess, would be the two words. Like we realized we couldn't, well, you can do like macro scale rewilding on a balcony, but we did want to do, for us, this is very large scale, right? We're at like 13 hectares of land now. So that's like 25 acres. Um, but it's not, your NEPs or your landscape scale rewilding, but it's our landscape. We could never afford to do it in the UK. Like we just couldn't buy land. Um, we didn't need to live in the UK either. Um, so living here is a great plus on that side of things. But the small scale side of it, I guess, is because even here we couldn't afford to do large scale rewilding. And although I feel like it might even be more work at the moment than large scale rewilding, because we have to be a lot more hands on. There's a lot more moving parts. We can't have as many animals, so we only have 4 horses and 5 cows at the minute. But the cow number will fluctuate. It's only because one of the cows just had a baby, and then we're going to sell one of the other cows because she's a bit cheeky, um, and she's not the best to have around kids and stuff. Um, but yeah, so having that, like those animals, obviously they do their job. They're the proxy tarpan and auroch, but we still have to, on large scale, you could have like 30 horses and 50 cows, and they'd kind of do all the trampling and smashing through. So sometimes I have to be the auroch. I've got one more day. My friend comes and we like smash through bits of scrub. So we're doing that on Friday. And we've basically done one day a month for the last 2 months, just kind of little bits, opening up areas. But for small scale rewilding to work, you've got to do that. There's an amazing nature reserve, rewilding project called Underhill Wood. I think it's in Somerset or Dorset, but anyone should check that out. But he doesn't have any livestock, and he does all of it himself, and he must he must be working all the time. He has like a special rotavator to be the. Luckily, we have wild boar here to like turn over the soil and do that, and like the trampling and stuff. He has special machines. He cuts certain areas of land to kind of be the grazer. So yeah, I mean, small scale rewilding for us, that was the most obvious thing to do. At first, we did complete hands off, and it didn't really work. And then we got the livestock. We had sheep, that didn't really work. And then when the horses came, we still tried to do like unfenced areas on small scale, and that didn't work because they just smashed areas that too much, and it was unnatural. So now we are like the wolf, that we've like parceled it up and we move the animals around kind of on rotation, depending on the weather, depending on the season. Um, so the land reacts in different ways, and then watch how the land reacts. And that's still changing. We're going into year 6, and I'm taking down fencing that we put up like 2.5 years ago. We're making bigger blocks, but that was always going to happen because we've grown. So when we took the place on, it was only 5 hectares. So we're nearly 3 times the size of when we took it on. So the areas that I'd made into smaller blocks to only put the animals in for a day, we can now open up into the three separate blocks and be one block again. And the animals are in it for 3 days, but then they don't come back for 6 weeks. or we might want to graze it a bit harder. There's an area, for example, where I let them basically churn up the ground a little bit, because every year it's full of solitary bees. They go in the bare earth, and if it was covered in grass, the solitary bees wouldn't be able to get into it. But that is the same as an auroch or a tarpan. A big herd would have gone through, and it's wet and mushed it up. So it's reacting to that. So it's small scale rewilding, but it's large scale brain work. I don't know. I don't know.